Okay. This will be an interesting one. We've done many of these before. Let's see if we can make this shit look interesting. Right. Gonna make it 70.7. Right, let's see if we can make this look good. Oh shit, I thought I heard something. Something just fell down. I don't know what it was. I hope it wasn't something bad. Sorry folks, just got distracted. So I'm wondering if we're going to use this. But I think maybe we're going to leave that. This will be an interesting one. I'm going to turn this into a dual colour job. So we're going to go contrasty with this. Maybe a little bit of lightness will help. So let's see if we can make this look really nice. Let's see how we go. Right. Right, let's see how that looks. We got here a Snooty magazine, North Shore Times. If you've got it, flautist, you know, the flute, get it? Sorry guys, that's not my fucking joke, that was their fucking joke. Not a very funny one, but anyway, maybe you could call it funny in a silly sense, but anyway, we're just gonna give this an interesting new look. We'll give it, the flautist, a new appearance. This is all a bit tricky to try and move properly. Let's see if our flautist looks really good. Interesting. But this is another magazine, you know, from a rich place, a rich geographical area of Sydney, which I have to unfortunately live in because the temperatures are too extreme out west, because I can't afford to heat my unit because the electricity is just overly expensive. It's too expensive, so I have to make sacrifices somewhere, and the best place to make the sacrifice is to not have any heating or cooling. Not the greatest choice that you have to make, but hey, you got to survive somehow. You got to pay the power to keep. You got to keep the lights on. You can't just. Now, I'm wondering how this is going to fit in the page. I'm going to make it roughly A5, but basically, I have to make a sacrifice, and the only sacrifice I can really think that make a difference to my power bill, the primary sacrifice. I make other ones too, but basically I have to. So that's our master copy. I think I did show it. I'll just quickly show it again, make sure that I haven't forgotten. So that's her now. Fuck, I just get really. I'm always worried I'm going to forget to. How should I put it? I'm going to make this 2-color. But basically, how should I put it? I got to make a sacrifice somewhere when it comes to how I'm going to keep this unit switched on with electricity, and of course the primary area of rationing goes to heating and cooling. I've actually lived most of my life without proper heating and cooling, or without any, pretty much. So I've actually lived most of my life having to deal with the hot and the cold. And yes, I'm very sensitive to the heat and cold, which makes the whole situation even worse. It could be, if I lived out in the western suburbs, it could be fatal. Heat exhaustion can apparently fuck your gut up, and you can end up with blood poisoning. So if it gets just over 50-something degrees, your fucking gut could be wrecked and you could die of blood poisoning. Not a nice way to die, but I'm telling you, it's much safer out here. And I've fucked this up. What's happened here? This is odd. That looks interesting, how she's been framed, but I don't know what happened there. The reduction. I forgot to enlarge. There we go, simple. Simple. I was meant to enlarge it. Sorry, folks. But basically, yeah, it could be fatal out west because the temperatures go up really high. And if you're indoors, the house could probably trap a lot of heat and you could end up with blood poisoning. And with this climate change and global warming, it's a lot worse. And the winters may not be as extreme as the summers, again because of climate change. The summers are more extreme, but there again, we're going to enlarge this a bit bigger. There again, we end up with higher temperatures, so it's going to be a lot more dangerous now than it used to be when it comes to heat. So you have to be careful. So now I'm just going to stretch this. So basically, I'm living out here because it's safer temperature-wise, and I think that it gets below zero in the west as well. But it's not just about protecting yourself from dying of heat exhaustion or the cold. It's just plain unpleasant. Even here in this temperate place, winter is horribly cold and summer is horribly hot. I still feel it, and it's just really horrible. And I just have to make that sacrifice so I don't end up having my power cut. So I have to fucking do that. And I've been doing it for so long, and it's just the electricity prices have just gotten really bad over time. Extremely bad. Now that looks like what we want. I do think she's a little bit overwhelmed with the cyan, so maybe we'll just keep her that way. She looks kind of silly. It goes to show just how silly the rich are, and this could be one way of illustrating the rich person with the flute as something humorous. Now, I wasn't meant to do black and cyan. I was meant to do black and blue. Fucked up. I didn't want to do it that way. So we're just going to go black and blue. I don't normally do it this way. Maybe we can improve on the amount of black, but then we may not be able to, so I don't know if we're going to just do that. But basically, yeah, it just gets too hot and too cold out west. And also I've got some of my family. My mum and my dad live out here, and I was brought up in the North Shore and in near the upper between the northern beaches and the North Shore. So it's become like, it's like, actually that looks better. So basically I'm just used to this area. My parents were trying to bring me up, I think, to be classy, to be rich. They didn't know that I had disabilities that would impinge upon that. And even if I wasn't disabled, I probably would have excelled at being a photocopier technician. I didn't want to be a manager or some money pin-pushing managerial type person. That wasn't my style. I wanted to be a technician, which would make me a working class type of person. But a lot of technicians live on the North Shore anyway, so it's not the most, it's not that lowly. Being a technician isn't that lowly. It's a highly skilled job, and sometimes the technical problems that they overcome are absolutely horrid. And I've seen even when I've had technicians come and fix my old C353, which is now defunct. I'm going to use that, and we're just going to go to mirror image. So basically they had to fix my old C353 on quite a few occasions, and there was one problem that was really bad, and I could see the poor technician was just totally getting frustrated. And yeah, it's not an easy job. It is not easy. It is a highly skilled job, and he managed to keep enough of his decorum to get the machine done, but he did get frustrated. So it's not an easy job, but these days you need more money anyway. It's just the way the world has become. Everyone's become focused on making money, and that's pretty much it, which is not a good thing. We've got to be kinder to our less fortunate citizens. And I see so many homeless people around. Even in the North Shore they have homeless people. When you go to Chatswood, there are a few regulars, or a couple of regulars I see. And I think, fuck, So it does happen on the North Shore as well as the city. So it's a real big problem that needs to be addressed, that the rich people have got to give at least 10% of their earnings to charity to help these people. Homelessness is going up. There's not many real estate agents who give cheap enough rent, so some people can't afford to pay the rent, and they try to pay the rent, but they get snowed under with all these bills like electricity. A lot of people just can't turn off the heating like I can. I just see it as a luxury. Most people, some people I've spoken to about this, are almost horrified that I've had to turn off the heating and cooling. Well, I don't have an air conditioner, I don't own a heater anymore, so basically it's like, yes, have to do that. And I'm not going to be here forever. I'm going to get married hopefully soon, but I got to get my artwork recognised on social media and have what would be called a viral campaign. It hasn't gone viral, and I've been doing this shit now for nearly 6.5 years, or about 6.5 years. So I don't know when I'm going to go viral. Let's see how we go, but that looks interesting. I think now we can call it quits.